Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 6. This one will be mostly about trying to make sure we don't dip into the red. All these constructions require quite a bit of investment, and our oil business doesn't really generate the revenue we would need to go hog wild. As a result, I will have to pace things out a little bit, and step on the brakes a little. Sure, we will make progress, but it will be mostly small things, like finally finishing the first construction yard, and pretty much all the foundations in the town will be ready to receive the building materials for phase 2 of the building process. In fact, at the end of this outing, I will get a bit impatient, and right before the episode ends I will rush one of the buildings to completion, just so we have something tangible to show for today. It's one thing to have the asphalt and concrete production up and running, but that isn't a very visual accomplishment. We need something we can point to, and that something will be the first shopping center in the Republic. But the rest of the town won't be far behind. Alright, let's see what's happening right now. The cement silo is filling up nicely. Will come in handy once the concrete plant is up and running. We can also continue upgrading the roads around the construction hub. Also, in the last episode I was lamenting the fact that the current bus stop will not be able to reach the firehouse with gravel roads. After this episode ended, I also tested asphalt roads, and while normal ones still fell short, they will be good enough if we use the ones with street lights. So that will be the final upgrade this place will receive. Just to have some free housing when we do finally reach the point where we can invite citizens to the country, I decided that we should build a second apartment block. Once the town is actually up and running, it will instantly become a constant drain on our finances. While I'm fairly confident that the low number of starting citizens will manage to survive with the current oil revenues, we will need a much better source of income. That's where the next area comes in. I don't think it will be a surprise if I say that I'm building a clothing industry. Choosing the place for it was a bit hard though. I want to have plenty of space south of the rail tracks for the town warehouse district, and I still wasn't sure how I will lay out the steel mill to the north. Somewhere in between will have to do. Yeah, this place will do. We will go for the tried and tested ratio of 1 fabric factory feeding 2 clothing ones. I will throw in a warehouse too. It will make both road and train-based distribution a lot simpler. Well, as long as we manage to get all 3 factories to connect up. There. We might struggle with the crop storage a bit. The warehouse can hold the stuff, but not in great quantities that we will need to keep this place running 24/7. But I think it will manage in these early days. We can augment it with some grain silos if we have to. It's a bit early to think about a rail connection. Plus I think it would make sense to have it go the other way. All it needs now is a source of power, and it's ready to start building. Since it will be a small town, I think it's okay if we sacrifice one of the transformer outlets for this endeavor. And it managed to place the cable in one segment. Good times. Now, it does get a bit tiring to write, construction yard, every time I have to refer to this place, so from now on, this place will be known as Kirkomov. In the last series, it was our first industrial district. This time, it will be an equally as important part of the Republic. We will build so many things from this place. I really like how this roundabout turned out. It's a bit big, but we have to make sacrifices for the sake of game logic. Almost forgot to add a bus stop to the clothing factories. I should really tell these roads to be high priority. I want to get this place done as soon as possible. As for these train stations, we don't really need them straight away. I think we can pause them for now. Yeah, the bus stop is too far away from the firehouse with gravel roads. But as I've said, it will be close enough with paved ones with street lights. Once that road is done, we can move on to the highway going towards the mountains. After that, the roadworks will be done for a while around here. Only two small road segments stand in the way of finishing the concrete plant. Let's hurry them along. Now that the bus stop is fully accessible, I think it's time to start using it. 2 Barcus microbuses will do for now. I really need to keep an eye on our finances, so big purchases need to be kept to a minimum. It should be enough to keep the 2 production facilities going frequently enough for our needs right now. We might as well tell the local COs to start using the asphalt plant from now on. It will be faster, and more importantly, cheaper to use domestically made asphalt. Sure, we are still using imported goods and workers, but hopefully not for much longer. We have so many small road and footpath segments in the town, no wonder things are going slowly. Finally, the concrete plant can be accessed again. Oh right, we can move on to the double road for gravel upgrades. It's a bit of a shame that we have another construction phase after this one. That will slow things down quite a bit. Okay, we are in the final stretch. We only need to deliver a bit of steel and some mechanical components, and it's almost done. One of the things I forgot to add to the town was a small construction office. With the current setup, buses would need to drive to the island first to pick up workers. But if we had the office right at the source, then we can cut down on travel time significantly. This would have been okay, but the footpaths were interfering with the road connections. Flipping it 180 degrees should do the trick. It's a shame that it will be right next to the art gallery. I should try to add some trees in between once everything's done, just to separate them a little. Okay, now it's just a matter of getting the workers to finish things up, and we can finally start using homemade concrete. And even these roads got built super fast. It's a miracle what we can accomplish once we have everything ready to go nearby. I could have sworn I replaced that tree earlier. Oh well, let's be doubly sure this time. I was wondering why the paver wasn't going to the road while it had a bunch of dumpers waiting, full of fresh asphalt. Oh, not having it assigned to the site might have something to do with it. And the concrete plant is finished. As soon as it gets some workers, it will be a very useful building indeed. Which means, we can add it to the local COs. Another building material we won't have to go all the way to the border to pick up from now on. Now that I have my eyes on it, let's just place a poplar tree in that little empty space in the middle of the intersection. I want to wait for the other parts to be finished before I place the rest. Having the one-way arrows as a guide for equal placement is very useful. Since we're waiting around for things to be built, I thought we can pass the time by adding some greenery to the town. In lieu of one-way arrows on the road, we can use the grid as the guide for tree spacing. Originally I wanted to have the middle segments of the double highway in the town to be filled in with gravel, but for now, let's just see how it looks with trees instead. In fact, I've been thinking of removing some of what we place until now. We could have the roads completely barren in the countryside, have poplar trees as we approach a settlement, and have a gravel median in town. But that's just an idea I need to test later. These two seem to be doing quite well. Can't wait to have our own citizens work in them, they will cut down on costs a lot. And as we run out of gravel, I think filling the aggregate storage up to 30% might be better than 20%. Speaking of gravel, I'm still not sure where I will place the first zone for it. There are no convenient patches of stone in flat areas, like we had in the last series, so we will have to use the cliff sides. This big empty area is ripe for an industrial center. I already know that this is where we will build our first steel mill, and we already started on the clothing factories. But I have no concrete layout, so I'm a bit cautious about committing to anything yet. But I think we can at least place some quarries, even if they don't end up as the final arrangement. Yeah, more of a reminder that we need to sort out gravel ASAP. Thankfully, the international oil market is pretty stable. Our meager profits are safe for now. I was desperate to do something, so I decided to add the first monument to the town. A Lenin statue should do the trick. Of course, I did go through all our current monuments, to make sure we go for one that inspires the most loyalty. And the statue was the best choice, considering we already used the red star at the border already, so I didn't want to have another so close. It was pretty obvious that the best place for it was right at the main intersection, next to the shopping center. We only needed to move the footpath a little bit to make room, but that was it. Yeah, this will do nicely. For now, I will only place bushes, and see if that's enough extra decoration. If not, we can add a tree on each side. And of course, once I get my hands on the tree brush, I get a bit carried away. I wanted to be a bit more sparing this time. Instead of filling in empty spaces completely, I just placed a couple of them. I didn't want to add trees too much just yet. I wanted to see how the windows on the buildings will be placed. There were couple places that did cry out for a poplar tree or two though, so I did place some. This should look good with a couple beech trees, since there are no tall buildings them to block. These will have to wait. They will serve as the front of the apartment block, so we might have some playgrounds instead of just trees. But yeah, this will do nicely for now, let's just leave them to mature. And the asphalt roads are finished. After placing the one-way designations, we can start placing the trees at last. Almost every building had their foundations finished already. But I really wanted to have something more than that to show for our efforts, so I decided to make the shopping center high priority. At first I only wanted to have some scaffolding visible at least, but in the end I just let it go all the way to completion. There, cranes will speed things up quite a bit. As for workers, it's the usual. Not enough of them to do everything in one go. Seeing how fast the construction was progressing, I decided to just wait it out before ending the episode. As usual, workers will go home just before it will be completed. Things are going all right at the clothing industry as well. It won't take long before we can start making knockoff Western brand sweatpants. Good thing I caught that small traffic jam. The signs weren't set up correctly at this intersection. That should do it. And done. The first service building in the Republic. I immediately set the internal storage space allocation to the one we used in the last series. 70% food, 15% for the other two each. Not the perfect ratio, but it worked well enough for us in the past. And that is all we have time for. I keep falling into the trap of planning too many things, and not possessing the appropriate amount of construction capacity to accomplish everything in a timely manner. Hopefully, that should be remedied now. We did manage to have 3 of the construction materials to be either stored or made very close to the construction offices, so hopefully that will speed things up. Unfortunately, we lack the funds to fill up the rest of the materials, which means I might have to take out a loan in the next episode, so we can do just that, and get things rolling. In the next one, I would like to start planning the different industries around the big empty plot of land we have available north of the main highway. We already have the clothing factories planned, adding the steel mill and the gravel processing to it will be very beneficial. Especially the steel. That is always the biggest expenditure at the start of the game, so making it at home will allow us to not only stop spending a lot of money, but to start raking it in instead. Anyways, thank you for watching. If you liked the video, then leaving a like and subscribing to the channel just might motivate me to make more. If you are more in the donating mood, you can find a link to my Ko-fi page in the description, where you can buy me a glass of water. I don't really drink coffee. Thank you for your support, and until next time, I will see you later.